What does all this mean?
It means he's finally ready to begin. Follow me. No way! He destroy a power plant? He must really be serious this time.
How dare you bring an intruder here, Sai? What were you thinking?
Stop! He's just a kid! He can't do anything!
Any threat to the project must be eliminated.
Any threat to the project must be eliminated.
Stubborn man! He never listens! Listen up. This thing may be huge and powerful, but its attacks are pretty slow. Take your time avoiding them. And see that red eye glowing at the center? That's the controller for the whole thing. Take that out and you'll stop it dead.
Controller? Stop it dead? How?
Man, you're slow. Use an arrow or something to shoot at that red thing. It's your only chance.
Okay, I got it.
You know, there's a chance you might not meet anyone else, that you won't see another living human ever again. That this planet will become a world of ruins and wandering spirits.
Why would you say something like that? You heard the radio, there's lots of people left.
Maybe, but not if Glass Cage's power is unleashed throughout the world. These aurora lights are a sign it's going to happen. To be honest, I don't really know what he's trying to accomplish. It looks like he wants to do it again. But if the world suffers the same outcome as last time, it really will wipe out every last living human.
It can't. I mean, I have to at least save her.
And if you do manage to save her, then what do you do next? You really think you two will just somehow click with each other? What if you don't even get along? Maybe you won't understand each other. Maybe you'll hate each other. Relying on your faulty language to communicate? You humans will never fully understand each other. And you still want to see her knowing that? Do you still want to save her?
I don't know if we'll understand each other perfectly. But that's not what matters to me. I just want to feel her warmth beside me. I just want to hold her hand, to see what I see, and respond to what I say. That's all I really want. Wandering around alone, looking up at the moon by myself, I'm sick of it!
Listen, do you really want to save that girl? Even if you're successful, she might still reject you, you know? Who knows, she might even hate you. So are you sure you want to do this? That's enough of that now. Don't cry anymore. I'm going to tell you where you can find her. Hey, dry up those tears. Remember, you're on a mission to save her. I know the exact location where she's being held. Follow me. That room with the cage in it. You know, where all the cats were. That leads to where she is now. But from here on in, things get really, really dangerous. You could call it quits, but I already know you won't.
That's right. I'm stubborn.
I know.
We have to go. She's waiting.
Yeah. Let's get going.
soothing watching the flames. Wow, very cool.
Enter this code into that keypad. 1004. It's his birthday. He was always distant and cold on the surface. But he had a tender side, too.
Who?
It doesn't matter. Just enter the code already. Alright, let's go.
It's soothing watching the flames. Maybe I'll sit down. Hey, could this be... Man, I'm getting sleepy. Hey, is this?
Dawn was just about to break, and the subdued rays of morning light were finally spreading across the sky. I was taking my time, strolling through the bustling scene of the early hours. The clamor hurt my ears. Angry shouts rang from the main street, while flirts could be heard in the alleys. I avoided the hubbub on my way. Just being in a foul place like this made me remember the life I'd led. There was a shop with its door propped open. The music that wafted from within was not what you'd consider uplifting. The sign by the entrance was half shrouded in dark. The word Sylvia adorned it.
Boss, I think you've had enough,
A sweet voice said from behind the bar. The bartender was a long-haired woman in a sleeveless dress who was leaning against the wall.
I know it's up to you, but I think you've been hitting the bottle hard lately.
The voice was young and lilted, like that of a male cat calling to a female.
I think it might not...
Rika?
A glass clattered hard against the bar's surface, cutting her off. Silence followed.
Fine. Don't listen to me then.
The girl behind the counter took the glass to fill it, but grumbled in disapproval.
I'm just saying this out of concern for you. You look exhausted these days. And the last lady to run this place, well, you know.
Rika!
Again, the glass hit the counter. A cigarette was lit.
Once you're done, you can leave for today.
What?
Do you want me to fire you?
The woman bristled with anger.
Don't say that. If you deserted me, I'd be all alone.
The glass she placed on the bar didn't smell of the pungent alcohol. It was a white liquid.
The last owner of this place died from alcohol poisoning. I don't want that to happen to you. See you tomorrow.
There was the sound of high heels approaching. I darted behind the sign.
Huh?
Rika looked up and down the alley, bathed in morning light.
Sylvia?
I already knew who she was calling to by that name. Rika gave a heavy sigh, for the first time, and dragged her feet down the dirty street. It was only when she was finally out of sight that I made up my mind. I'd never heard how Sylvia had been brought up before she died. She was so shy and quiet. There wasn't much to say about her. She was the one girl I didn't hate. But now, I was going to steal her name. At first, I thought it was revenge. It had to be. Revenge against them for living better lives than me. And it was revenge against my own cruel fate. Step by step, I made my way through the half-open door into the shop and whispered, "Mama." The woman was slumped over the bar, the same as when Rika first left. She sluggishly hoisted herself up to look at me and shook her head as though she wasn't sure what she was hearing. I whispered once more, "Mama." That's when her barren eyes, laced with crow's feet, wrinkled in a squint.
Oh, so it's you.
She laughed with tears in her eyes.
You poor little thing. You look just the same as when you first came here.
Something about how she said that made her sound like Rika.
Where have you been? You've been gone for so long. What have you been doing with yourself? Here, drink up. You can have this. It's your favorite. I'll give you whatever you need. Anything at all.
There's a good girl. She cooed in a slow drawl, offering me the glass. I wonder if Sylvia was also served warm milk like this the first time she came here. "I'm sorry," I whispered for the first time to myself. "I am Sylvia. Sylvia, with her purple bell. The little girl who was held close by Mama in a small downtown bar."
Ah, we meet again. 'Tis such a wonderful day. I shall see you again.
is this?
Feel free to ask should you ever have any need for my services. Have a nice day!
Oh, I better warm up. Hey, is this?
A tall human was watering the garden. His white shirt and black slacks were simple and clean.
Teacher!
As the two young children called out, a man who was watering the grass raised his head.
Yes? Anything the matter?
The man they called teacher kneeled down to peer at the young boy through his glasses.
Teacher, when's Lot coming back?
The question came from the little girl. Even from a distance, I could see the man's face grow dark.
Teacher, will Lot ever come back?
The little boy looked up expectantly, but their teacher could only furrow his eyebrows and purse his lips. More children gathered, questions alight on their small faces. Their matching white shirts were tattered with use. I could imagine that Lot, too, had joined this circle with her signature yellow bell. The young children didn't appear to have parents. They lived in the big, plain house with the man they called teacher.
Now, what's taking her so long? She's gone away before, but...
The teacher murmured an excuse, but the children wouldn't be soothed.
We want to play with Lot again. Maybe Lot's sick. Maybe she's hurt. I bet she misses us. She must miss us.
As worry spread among the children, the teacher asked them a question.
Let me ask you, does it make you sad to think that Lot's lonely?
Of course. We miss her.
The teacher nodded and continued. Then, if Lot knew how you missed her, it'd make her sad, right? As I watched from a distance, I hesitated momentarily. I knew that the yellow bell that Lot possessed was from this orphanage, which was why I'd come. But I couldn't imagine that she really had a family in this place. Would anyone care if she were gone? Their worries now put to rest, the children returned to their games, but one girl lingered behind. A freckled girl with curly hair.
But we're all...
The girl mumbled, looking down at her feet.
We're all still sad, even if Lot isn't lonely.
The teacher put his hand on top of the girl's head.
I suppose there are some things that can't be helped.
I know what you do at night,
the girl blurted, looking at him hard.
If you really felt it couldn't be helped, then you wouldn't be out searching for Lot every night after we've gone to sleep.
The teacher quickly put a finger to his lips.
Everyone's worried enough as it is.
But now I'm more worried about you, teacher.
The man simply nodded with a sad smile at the girl's words.
I know that. And I'm sorry.
Then, with the hose still in hand, he looked at the sky and spoke aloud.
Between you and me, I'm not all that worried about Lot. I'm sure she'll still survive outside these walls. All that matters is that we all considered her family. I'm sure she wants to treasure those words too, because the family we made here is the only one we've ever had. As far as I'm concerned, we're Lot's family, and as long as she knows that, everything will be okay. And to be honest, I believe that Lot will return someday.
Night came, and the lights in the orphanage winked out. I slowly crept out from the shadows that spread before the orphanage. The moment the teacher saw me, he stopped in his tracks. The light from the full moon completely transformed me. I rang the bell, knowing it was all I could rely on.
Lot? Is that you?
Yes. It's me, Lot.
So then, does this mean you're ready to come back to our home?
But of course. If you'll have me, that is. Back at the orphanage, the freckled girl was trying her best to calm the children, who were crying from the teacher's absence. For days now, she'd taken his place guarding them at night. Holding the young girl to him, the teacher announced my return to all the children, to all the family. I am Lot. Lot with her yellow bell. A gentle member of this orphanage, with a bigger family than anyone could ask for.
It appears we have a special bond, you and I. Have a nice day!
ID cannot be confirmed, you will be removed. If the ID cannot be confirmed, you will be removed. Cannot be confirmed, you will be removed. If the ID cannot be confirmed, you will be removed. If the ID cannot be confirmed, you will be removed. If the ID cannot be...
The security's been activated. It's locked tight. Well, only one way to go. Forward!
Right. This is so soothing. Huh? Is this?
Everyone in town called the old writer who lived in this house a weirdo. The house was old-fashioned, and the walls seemed weighted with history. So little care and upkeep had been done to the place, it wouldn't be a stretch to call it a dump. The front door was always open, and not because it wasn't locked, but because there was no lock at all. Some would think that an invitation to burglars, but the place was such a mess that you'd lose all interest in stealing the moment you stepped inside. The house reflected its owner, an oddball, aged and in disarray. And this day, that oddball writer was laying in the middle of his hallway. For a moment I thought he was dead, but every once in a while, his finger would twitch, betraying signs of life. The bones in the back of his hands stood out, gnarled under paper-thin skin, but his slicked back hair looked young. The black framed glasses he habitually wore had stayed on, even after his fall. He'd probably worn those glasses so long that they were a part of his very being. And there he lay, weaving my way through the filth and the clothes and the furniture. I entered the house, and he didn't even notice.
Bisk!
He called my name in a gravelly voice. With each call, my body would shiver with surprise, and the bell would ring. It was a refreshing sound. The old man must have heard it too. He immediately leapt off the floor and turned his back to me.
Not another step.
The man almost spat out.
I don't want you coming near me.
And with that, he went back to the mountain of papers that buried what might have once been a desk. His hand never stopped moving as he scratched at his head. I was thoroughly baffled. And so I sat in the corner of the writer's room until night fell. The bell at my neck continued to tinkle lightly as I tilted my head. Can this man truly be Bisk's family? I came to check up on him every few days, but each time he'd act just as wild and nonsensical. When he wasn't throwing himself on the floor, he was completely immersed in his writing. Disturbed by his unnatural behavior, I tried my best not to allow my bell to ring, and so I stayed nestled in the corner until I finally heard the sound of a pen sliding across the desk.
Phew.
A loud
Finally, finished.
The way he breathed those words sounded so unlike his usual crazed tone. I lifted my head, and the bell chimed to him gently. With his back still on the floor, he let out a low moan.
Oh, Bisk. Bisk, my dear.
I was sure he'd yell at me to stay away again today, but instead he just lifted his thin, ghost-like arm and gestured to me. Just as I neared him, with my careful, steady steps, he suddenly grabbed me by the scruff of my neck and dragged me down with him. At first I went stiff with fear, but then I heard the beating of his heart. He gently closed his eyes and petted me.
Bisk, is that you? You've gotten so much thinner since I last saw you.
His bony hands were rough, but he petted me softly. As I sat there, unable to answer, the beating of his heart became softer and softer. He continued to coo at me gently.
Finally, I'm able to sleep.
His last words sounded more like he was speaking them from a dream. As the hand on me never wavered, I finally realized. My doubts were cleared. I understood now that this was the orange-belled Bisk's family. And as I gently closed my eyes, I could feel the sound of my own heartbeat, slowly melting free of its ice. I am Bisk. Bisk with her orange bell. The foster child who brings peaceful slumber to the master writer, whom everyone called crazy.
Feel free to ask should you ever have any need for my services. I shall see you again.